AMC, Darren Honey. This is good evening. Welcome everybody. It's late night gun chat. Excuse me. It's the wrong night. Normally I do this on Tuesday nights, but I got something for coaching football tomorrow night, so I just decided to move it. Didn't make an announcement for that. I apologize. So I am looking at the comments on StreamYard, not live on YouTube. So we got 2AEDU with us tonight. So
how's it going, man?
If you're not subscribed to him yet, make sure you go over and subscribe. Like I said, we're just doing late night gun chat. This is what you guys want to talk about. What do you think is good for bear defense? We always get into that. What do you think is good for home defense? Crap hits the fan, all that jazz. So we just take user-driven questions. So we were just talking off the air about pro-gun Democrats. So what do you think, 2A? Tell me about the story you were telling me.
Well, I was talking about the chief of police in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, rather. And you were saying, did you guys have a lot of riots? And not really, he's a Democrat, black guy. And he just said, you know what? It's not going to happen here. And he just came out with the police full force. He encourages all the good people of Detroit, the good citizens, to be armed. And it really didn't amount to much of anything. It's kind of crazy, like in a good way.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. We got John E. for LW Road. I know we had a few peaceful protests here, and they were literally peaceful protests. And there were some people counter-protesting here that were, pro-police and saying, stand for the police, thin blue line, that kind of thing. And when some people who were Antifa type were like trying to set like something on fire or something like that, both sides pulled their guns on them and stopped them. Like, because this is Alaska, 70% of the people have guns. It's like 69.9 people have guns, per capita. And if you included multiple guns per gun owner, you'd have like 80, 90% as far as per capita guns here. So like everybody was carrying a gun at those rallies, and both sides. And, and I get it. Like there's been some police shootings that were bad. And I think we all agree with that. It probably shouldn't have happened. And then that. So we got John E. for LW Road, nice little Alaskan channel. Go check them out. Brownies for my fat. All right. Mine should be called Brownies Form My Fat. All right. Let's see. We got Veteran Dad Tactical. TW Chisholm. What's up, guys from Mississippi? Hey, what part of Mississippi you're in? I used to live in Greenville. All right. And we got some people going on. So that's that. Anyway, so I was going to tell you about my pro-gun Democrats that I knew. They were both Democrats in the small town. So I was in Georgia. It was Thomaston, Georgia. And I forgot their names. But Georgia was notorious for taking 4 to 6 weeks. And sometimes like Fulton County, that was Democrat, around Atlanta, and DeKalb County, taking like 6 months to get your CCW license back. And so I walked in, it was about to expire, and I walked into the probate court in Upson County, kind of rural, about an hour and 15, 20 minutes south of Atlanta with no traffic, and with traffic, 2 days. And I walked into the probate court office. He handed me all the paperwork, or his secretary did, to go over to the sheriff's department to get fingerprinted. The sheriff looked up me down. I said, hey, I do this, and hey, I go fishing and hunting. I just want to be able to carry it with me, fishing and hunting, and be on property, and stuff like that, and carry it in my car when I go to visit my parents in Atlanta. He's like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, and whatever. And he doesn't get the right to deny it. He just wanted to come meet me, make sure I wasn't crazy or whatever. And he handed me all the paperwork to go back to the probate court judge. I went back to the probate court judge, and they literally printed it out for me right there and handed it to me. It took all of an hour and 15 minutes when the rest of the counties were taking 4 to 6 weeks, and even Republican suburban counties, 4 to 6 weeks, to get it back. And so it took me an hour and 15 minutes. And of course, I had a couple of buddies that were like, it took you an hour and 15 minutes? Is that even legal? How did they do all the background checks in time, and all this other stuff? And I was like, it is what it is. Background checks don't take that long, So that's the only Democrats I voted for in my life, for those two guys. And they didn't have anything to do with the other positions I have besides Pro 2A that are against Democrats in their position. So whatever they thought about balanced budget or abortion didn't really matter because they don't have any power over that. And so, like, I was like, well, why not vote for him? Because the Republican guy's not going to do that good of a job, more than likely. He's going to be bogged down in bureaucracy most of the time. So why not? Let's see, we got John Fazer. I see on Guns and Gadgets, Johnny for Washington has 8 guns per 1,000 people. That's pathetic. Hey, Washington State. Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah. I have a lot of people from my channel from Washington watch my channel, though. A lot of people. Close to Meridian, Mississippi here, about 30 minutes out in the country. Okay, I know where you are. Down south, way below the gnat line. So cool that you live near here. I never knew that. Yeah. I used to live near there. That's where I cut my teeth long-range shooting in our 600-yard range in Greenville, Mississippi. It was actually 589 or something like that. Josh Connor's here. And we got, cool, I'm from Lucedale. James Pugh, most commenter on my channel. All right, appreciate the support, man. We got PCP Media. All right, Pork Chop, that stands for Pork Chop Productions, not the drug PCP. And so make sure you go subscribe to him. He's a good friend. He's really helped the channel a lot. And make sure you go subscribe to him. He has some funny videos and stuff like that. All right, so make sure you go subscribe to them. We got, all right, TJ Chisholm talking about Mississippi still. All right, hello from Wheeled and Well Armed. And John Effer, feds take a month or so to process the concealed carry background check. All right, that's weird. All right. I don't know. I didn't know the feds were involved in the process. I mean, it should be the state checking the feds' records, not the records. Like, that's all digital right now.
Yeah.
The only anti-gun Democrat I have known, I took out shooting, and they loved it. Hey, that's the way you fight it more than anything. So, you ever done that? You ever taken an anti-out shooting?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. And the whole Democrat thing's just weird nowadays because, look, there's still some old school Democrats live and well, but I think things are shifting so much. I'll tell you, like, growing up where I did in Michigan here, an hour or so away from the Motor City, Detroit. So everyone works these union auto worker jobs, trades, and 99% of them would be Democrats, but they would have to close down all of the Ford factories, Dodge, GM, on opening day of hunting because they were all so pro-gun, like everyone would call off to go hunting, right? And that's kind of what it meant to be, a Michigan UAW Democrat growing up, right?
Right.
They weren't like as radical as they are now. And a lot of those Democrats, not all, there's still some, decent ones out there that I know personally, but a lot of them have actually like kind of walked away from it because they were like, no, I'm keeping my guns. I don't care how the union says I should vote. I'm pro-gun. And I'm noticing it shifting a lot lately where they're just not a party at all. They're like, Republicans and Democrats just both suck. I just want my guns. Or some of them have been going Republican,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm more on both suck category. And I was a Republican, but the first 2 years of Trump's term, when they didn't pass a valid budget amendment, they didn't pass the Life at Conception Act, they didn't end Obamacare, they didn't pass concealed carry national reciprocity, they didn't pass it. You didn't even want to hear the Hearing Protection Act. None of this was done, and so that was that. And I at that point, it was like the Republicans got in there and acted just like Democrats, including the president, in my opinion, when he hasn't vetoed any of the national debt, and he hasn't he's made threats about red flag laws. He's made threats about suppressor bans. He's made threats about assault weapons ban. He's but the bump stock going around the congressional process. I'm not mad about the bump stock. Okay, if Congress banned the bump stock, yeah, I'd be disappointed. Be like, oh well, I saw that coming. At least they didn't ban, echo triggers, right? Whatever. Bump stocks are stupid. They're fun toys, but they're stupid for tactical reasons. Other than to put down cover fire, but you can't control them like a machine gun to put down effective cover.
You're generally right, but I'll tell you one thing though. I disposed of it, of course. I had one on an RPK with the bipod, and I found if I had like a fallen log or a sandbag and really wedged it up against with that bipod, then all of a sudden, in that instance, it was actually kind of a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a friend who had one on a 20-inch bull varmint barrel AR, and long barrel, and that just heavy weight. He said he could hold it down pretty good. That it would be. He ended up putting drum mags and or a belt fed upper or something like that, and he actually put that bull barrel, that thick, varmint barrel that you see, and he had it in 24-inch or 20 or 22-inch. I can't remember. And that thing, he said you could control. And like, so those bigger, longer, heavier guns where you could control it and set it on a bipod and that kind of thing, you could probably get, controlled burst off for sure, but that's just to do that. So,
but that's not the problem though. Who cares if me and you like them or not? It was the fact that, I hate to say this, guys, but under the Obama administration, 3 times they said it was legal. And then the Republican president went around Congress and just did it like with the stroke of a pen. That's the problem, right?
Yeah. And the problem is that gives the Democrat who gets next elected, because whether it's Biden or it's the next term or whatever the case may be, that gives him all sorts of power with the pen. That gives him a precedent. Oh, Trump did this, so it must be okay. And no, it's not okay. It's just not okay.
Slippery slope is not just a cliche. Slippery slope really does happen, and every time it just keeps getting worse.
Yep, definitely. All right. In Washington, the local police sends it to the feds. Oh, that's probably why you don't get it back. Let's see. We've got, I too have seen radical shift in Democrats from those old days to now. I've seen that shift even here in Mississippi. Yeah. Because in the South, there used to be a lot of Southern Democrats who were, now they're Republicans. And that's why everybody thinks the Republicans are racist. And it's not true, because the Democrats are still racist. They're the ones wanting to keep African Americans down through poverty, through the welfare system. All right. And not all black people are on the welfare system. There's way more many white people than are on black people on the welfare system. But that's what Democrats want to do. Heard Palmer went all Democrat. That's not true. But I have to look. I think their city council did, and they're starting to regret it, because they fired the chief of police for saying Antifa was a terrorist group, and they got a big protest on that. So, get an Echo or binary AK trigger. I did a video with my Echo trigger and a D60 and a pistol AR. Those triggers designs are legit. Yeah, that's something I've been definitely considering. My problem is right now I don't have the ammo to burn through an Echo trigger. I've got enough ammo stocked for stuff to come, and I don't have any more. So that's my problem. I got like 7 or 8 boxes to spare at the range for mag test or whatever. So, what do you think? Would you rather have an Echo trigger or a bump stock?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, probably the trigger, except for cost. The bump stocks for $100. These triggers, especially for the AK, are what, $400 or $500. So they're expensive.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. So the actual NFA says per single action of the trigger. So like that's the terminology used. It fires 1 shot per single action of the trigger. And the reason why binaries are legal is you're doing 1 single action when you pull and 1 single action when you let go. How does the ATF interpret that as legal and something where you're just pulling the trigger really, really fast as illegal? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Like to me, it should have been the other way around. You could have said a single action means single pull, and so those are bad. Now, either one of them is wrong. Don't get me wrong, and the NFA is wrong. But it just seems to me like, how could you ban one that's actually pulling the trigger and another one that's pulling and releasing and firing 2 per trigger pull? So it's the word action of the trigger, I believe, is the exact wording. I could be wrong. You probably know better than I do.
Yeah, I did a bunch on this when the proposed ban was going on. And if you read it, it's not just about bump stocks. That's the problem with it. If you look at it by definition, if you look at like your Ithaca Model 37s that you can hold the trigger down, and slam fire them. Those are actually banned by the bump stock rule too. I promise you they are. They're just choosing not to enforce them. Some of your old-fashioned, like, what is it, the 1897 shotguns, all of your old school slam fire shotguns, those are completely 100% considered machine guns. Like, by the letter of the bump stock ban, they're just not going to go after that, because then all the FUDs will get involved if they take the shotgun. That's just my opinion. It bans a lot more than that. For President Kamala Harris gets in next time. God forbid, I'm just saying. She does. She can take this that was already written by Trump's administration and say, well, look, the letter of the law is clearly here. I'm just now going to start enforcing these 300 other things that Trump didn't enforce.
Yeah, exactly. See, Darren Honey, when I moved to Alaska a year and a half ago, I registered as independent after being a lifelong Republican. Yeah, I actually voted in the Democratic primary this year because I voted against the people I knew were running, because I knew the Republicans were like all incumbents and there was nobody running against them in my district. So I figured, why not go and try to vote against them? So I don't vote for Democrats and Republican in elections, but I looked at the independent one and I was like, well, these guys are stupid. And these guys are just Democrats running as independents for the most part. And that's what they're doing here. Like, we have Dr. Al Gross, who's independent for Senate, but he's a Democrat. I mean, all of his values are Democrat. And Elise Galvin, she ran for Congress as a Democrat last time, and now she's running for the House seat again. We have one House seat in Alaska. That's our population. So, yeah, we have more senators than we do House of Representatives in that by double. Yeah.
I just heard you say something. You said vote against. You know what? Isn't that the truth? Doesn't it suck that we find ourselves voting against people, or the lesser of two evils, like all the time?
Yeah. And that's why I've said it on this channel a lot. I'm writing in Rand Paul for president. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Saying that, Trump is better than Biden is saying, like, in the same manner as, to me, like, eating a turd is better than eating diarrhea. And it's just as gross as that is. I mean, that's where we're at. So
yeah. I like Rand a lot. I was supporting him originally in the Republican primaries. That's who I was behind.
I was too, and he was leading the Republican primaries for quite some time, especially in swing states against Clinton.
Yep.
Over even Trump for a little while, until Fox News started pushing Trump as the front runner. When Fox News pushed Trump as the front runner, he basically went down. But he would have been a much better president. We would have had a balanced budget. He would have vetoed anything that was not balanced. Sending a balanced budget amendment. We would have had nothing unpro-aid across his desk. Nothing, and I'm a very big pro-life guy. So like, I think if you can stab a baby in the womb and pull it out with, tweezers, there's something wrong with you, or forceps. And like, I understand like the whole choice thing, but my opinion is, okay, rape and incest, that might be different. We can discuss that, but for the average girl that got pregnant with her boyfriend at 16, that's, you made a choice and now you're dealing with the consequences of it. You can't say you're pro-choice when you're taking away 800 million choices from that baby, so you just can't do it. I mean, and so I don't know how you feel on that issue, but like, Rand Paul would have stood there. And that's the one thing Trump's been good on, is appointing pro-life judges and a couple of pro-life moves here and there as well. And so that's the one thing he's been good on to me. So it's really, really hard for me to like vote for Jo Jorgensen when libertarians don't stand for the liberty in the womb,
Right. I mean, Amy Coney Barrett was very solid. I discussed some of her past decisions on the Second Amendment. She's the one, remember, guys, that said nonviolent felons should still have their 2A rights. And that's what I've always kind of said, but I'm even a little different than her. I think anyone on the street should have all of their rights. But if you're so violent that it's just imminent and it's like 99% sure you're going to kill people, then why are you even on the street? So just like get rid of those people, keep them locked away forever. I do believe in death penalty, actually. And if they're on the street and they were reformed enough to be amongst us, they should all have their rights. And ACB is about the closest we've had to that.
Yeah, I totally agree. They should have all of their rights. And I mean, that's everything back, parental rights, whatever. I mean, if they are not reformed from prison, if prison doesn't reform them, If it doesn't change them, then they should stay in prison. That's my idea, at least for the length of their term. And when their term is done, their rights are restored one way or another. And
yeah. And here's what doesn't make any sense. They're allowed on the streets amongst us, can't have a gun. You know, the Democrats, liberals want to ban, and many Republicans want to ban these assault rifles, they call them. Well, FBI stat proves more people are killed with hands and feet every year than all rifles combined. But we're letting these people out there that may or may not kill again, and guns generally aren't the issue with a lot of these people. The whole thing's just messed up from start to finish, really.
Absolutely. All right. Nathan Manley says echo trigger because you can still be accurate. I've heard people controlling a bump stock at minimum ranges anyway. It's only illegal because of the Vegas shooter. You know, the truth is we don't know for an absolute fact that he used bump stocks. We just know they were attached to some of the weapons in his room, and that people reported what sounded like fully automatic fire. But we don't know for a fact. It would fit the description, like 99% chance. Yes, he did. But that's that. Uzi was a slam fire too. Well, yeah, it's an open bolt. So open bolt guns, I guess you can call them slam fires. But yeah, that's what I meant. And I mean the semi-auto, the old Winchesters were slam fire. I can't remember the model number, something like a 50. An open bolt 12 gauge shotgun.
Well, it wasn't open bolt. You just kept the trigger down, and as you cycle the pump, it would slam fire. The firing pin would stay, protruded.
Right, but he's talking about a semi-auto, so it'd have to be hold the bolt.
Oh, a semi-auto. Oh no, you're right. My bad. You're right. Semi-auto.
Yeah, that if you were holding the trigger down and if it's fired on slamming, that would be a full auto and be like that would be an open bolt full auto. It's not a semi-auto if it does that. So
yeah, I didn't read that part. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe some of them broke and did that. I've heard of guns, breaking things before and going, full auto. 1911s breaking the steer and stuff like that, which you can't control it because you just go, But yeah. Washington tried to force everyone to join Dems or Republicans. If you didn't, you couldn't vote in the primary. Yeah, there's a lot of do that. See, so primaries are put on not by the government, but by the parties with approval of the government. So, I kind of get that, actually. I'm not saying it's right, but I get it. If you're not a Republican, you can't vote in the Republican primary. And if you're not a Democrat, you can't vote in the Democratic primary. Now, I like it where I can choose to vote in the Democratic primary one year and choose to vote in a Republican or an independent or a libertarian primary the next year, whatever. But, yeah, I get that. I get why it happens. It doesn't bother me. So, all right. NYP Prepper says, I agree about Truck. Rand Paul is awesome. We need a good libertarian. I would call him a conservo libertarian because he's pro-life, and that's who we need. He's the person we need, and he's the person we need to push. And like I said, I'm going to write in and vote for him anyway, and I'm going to take a picture of it and I'm going to post it on his Senate page, or whatever that I can, because that he needs to know that we want that kind of Republican. We don't want any. Stand with Rand. Yep. And I was really hoping he'd run against Trump in the primary. So, but he didn't because nobody has the guts to run against an incumbent. Rand Paul for the win. Yep. Rand Paul would definitely get my vote. Rand is a solid conservative. I want Massey to run eventually too. I want them to run together personally. I wouldn't even mind them running on the libertarian ticket. That would be an awesome libertarian ticket because they're libertarian on everything, and half the libertarians are pro-life, so they're libertarian on just about everything, All right, I'll let you handle this one because I'm not a big Mauser guy. Can you talk pros and cons of Mauser C96? Been thinking about buying one for my dad. I'm thinking about that.
The crazy thing is there's one 4 feet away, but due to Susan's rules, I can't touch it in the stream. C96, it was the first semi-automatic firearm, actually, for a handheld firearm, pistol, rather. They're pretty cool. I mean, if you want them just to collect, Shoot, I mean, is it really like a combat gun of this day and age? Probably not. It shoots the 7.63 by 25 round, which is very similar to a 7.62 by 25 Tokarev round. However, the 7.63 by 25 is generally going to be a little bit downloaded, less pressure. They have a fixed magazine built into the frame. You're going to generally feed them with stripper clips. Fun fact, even though it's a pistol, it's going to have like a 1,000 meter rifle sight on the back, like a tangent sight, like an old Mauser rifle. They would come with an issue with a wood buttstock, and there's a little groove in the back of the it's a stock / holster. So it's a holster you can put the pistol in. There's a little tongue and groove system, right, with the grip of the gun, and your holster becomes the buttstock. And I'm not a lawyer, guys, so look it up. But I believe the way it legally works is if you have an original Mauser pistol, C96, and an original holster, and they're both like of the original era, and I don't know how the ATF defines it exactly, you can actually put that on your C96. It's not considered an SBR because the ATF has exempted that under like a historical type exemption. And you can legally shoulder it if they're both original. So, it's kind of interesting.
Drop it like it's Scott in here. Make sure y'all go subscribe to him with Veteran Dad Tactical. Not a very political person, but I learned a lot from these chats. It's good to know. You've learned that we both hate. I mean, I don't hate. I actually like our Senator Dan Sullivan, and I'm voting for him. I actually wrote him about YouTube and their policies, and he wrote me back. So called his office. I should definitely. I should read that or show it up on the screen here. Yeah. I'll try to find that in a minute. I think Yankees Marshall stood for that about rights. He said, even if you're real about enough to be out, have your rights. If not, why are you out? And the hard thing is, though, psychology is not exact science. It's not like chemistry or astronomy or, people have what they have, 7.62 by 25 or 7.63 by 25 miles was hard to find. Yeah, you're going to have to hand load that probably. Well, in many states, owning a 30-round capacity is a felony. Yeah, that's true. PCP Media, I know he was in the military, so he would know. The fire sounded like an M240 Bravo. I've heard that from a lot of people. Cheers. Yeah. And the thing is, the cyclic rate of an M240 Bravo, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot higher than a mag dump on an AR-15 with a bump stock. Correct me if I'm wrong, PCP Media. Y'all go subscribe to Adam over there. He needs to get like 3,000 or 4,000 more subscribers, guys. So.
Oh, yeah.
If a president is elected that wants to ban AR-15s, will civilians have to turn in the ones that they already own? The compromise bill would probably grandfather everybody in like it did in 1994. And the cool thing is that makes your AR-15 worth a lot of money. So if you need to sell it, it's pre-ban. So one that was going for $500 is now going for $1,500. It'll probably be something similar where they ban the features of the gun. It can't have a flash hider. It can't have a folding or collapsible stock. It can't have a pistol grip or a forward grip. So if you had something already together and it was in that configuration, it would probably be grandfathered in. Now, most of the Democrats don't want to do that at all. They want to ban them all. But you probably could get the compromise with the Republicans would probably be that. Now, whether or not the president would sign that, I don't know. Would Trump sign the compromise? Probably, yeah. Would Biden sign it? Definitely. Would Kamala Harris sign it? Definitely, because Biden's probably going to be out of office in 2 or 3 years just from lack of mental faculties.
2 or 3 weeks, you mean? Pelosi's already trying to experiment how to invoke the 25th Amendment, and it's not for Trump, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not. So there is that. All right. It's easier to say he used a bump stock than admit criminals can get full auto weapons easier than law-abiding citizens. John Fazer. John Fraser lives here in Alaska. Good little chat. He lives in real Alaska. I live out in the valley. He lives out in Tok. So it could be like -70 there. So y'all go subscribe to John Fraser if you haven't already. But so let's see. Daryl Honey also reminds us Epstein didn't kill himself. Can we quit it with the Epstein thing? Okay, it's not going to kill itself. Oh, dang it. All right, no, yeah. Yeah. Casinos have more security cameras than any other business, and the only footage they have is one blurry picture of a guy with a duffel bag. And there were a whole bunch of guns found in there, like several, like a dozen or more rifles. How do you get that in one duffel bag? I think I meant slam fire. Haha. Well, if it's slam fires and it's a shotgun and it's a semi-auto, okay, it was a pump on the Winchester you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, it would have to be that. SKS full auto, too much Cosmoline, LOL. Yeah, sometimes those SKSs break and go into full auto. I've seen that happen.
What's up, White Space? How you doing, man?
Yeah, White Space Marines. I asked him earlier if that means he's a stormtrooper, and he said yes. So
he's a good dude.
Cool. I may write in Rand Paul too. Yeah, you and me both, buddy. Good day from New Zealand. Awesome. Is that a ibex? What do you call that sheep you got in your picture there? I forgot what you call that species. Ibex or ibex? Oh, forgive me. But yeah, that's some tough hunting right there. Yeah, that's like doll sheep hunting here, except worse. So went to a competition today with the pros from Canik. Oh, that's nice, dude. All right. Oh yeah, I saw her on your yeah, there she is, Tap Rack and Roll. I saw her on your live stream the other night. I had to catch it. So
cool.
Never turn my guns in. Drop it like it's Scott. I hope Trump signs national reciprocity. It has to get to his desk first. I mean, like, it's not going to get through the House right now, so not going to happen. So, he said he will sign it, but even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So
why didn't Paul Ryan push it through when we had why didn't Paul Ryan push it through when he was in charge? That's the problem. That's
the problem. The Republicans are not our friends. The Republicans say they're our friends, and some of them do vote our way, but they're not necessarily. The cyclot rate of an N240 is 650 to 950 rounds per minute. The M16A4, the cyclot rate can also do 950 rounds per minute. Yeah, but I think with an AR-15 civilian with a bump stock is like about 600 to 550, if I'm not mistaken, depending on who's running it. But we don't have any anymore. They're all disposed of in some type of way. Just in case holsters. Who has the best leather holsters on the planet? Code Alaskan if you want 10% off. Just have to mention him. He's hooking me up with a pretty nice holster. He's already hooked me up with some nice holsters. I still got the one for my shield with the Crusader cross on it. It's pretty awesome. Like, that's my favorite holster that I own. Yeah, it's really, and it's like really, really good quality. If you need a good leather holster, Just in Case Holsters is the man.
How do I find out about him?
I go to his Instagram page, but I think it's just justincaseholsters.com. And
okay, I'll go check it out.
Yeah, and Just in Case Holsters, send some to a EDU. He's got more subscribers than I do now, which is awesome. I think when we started out, it was inverse, but now he's got a bunch because he's been doing all this Pro 2A stuff, and that's good. Oh, PCP Media says I just broke 1,000. I appreciate all the shout outs, bro. Yeah, man. All right, that's good.
1,000 is an awesome number, isn't it? It's like, whoa, man, 1,000,
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, 1,000 people actually want to watch me. When you get to 10,000, it's like humbling. You're like, lost charge of my phone. Sorry. All right.
I love seeing all these new channels doing so good. New channels, old channels. There's a lot of good people right now out there.
Yeah, there are. he could execute executive order reciprocity. If I can drive nationwide, I should be able to carry nationwide. I don't think he can executive order, just like he couldn't executive order bump stock ban. It's not legal. I don't think he can. That's that. Drop It Like a Scott's pushing for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. He's got a cool gun channel. He's a pretty cool guy. So make sure y'all check him out. Instagram and Facebook, Just In Case Holsters, the best way to get a hold of him. Yeah, Veteran Dad Tactical, good night, man. I know you're on the East Coast, Eastern time. So
Michigan here.
Yeah, you're Eastern time too. So you're past midnight now. But so I don't think, what do you think? Could Trump order executive reciprocity? Could he executive order reciprocity? I just don't think.
No, but let me finish, guys. No, and I don't want him to, but it's not because I'm not pro 2A. I'm the most pro 2A guy ever. I don't want him to for the same reason that the president can't mandate nationwide masks, that they can't mandate, so many things that, in other words, I don't want a strong tyrannical leader that just unilaterally tells the states they have to do everything. But let me go in a circle with this, because this is a complicated topic. Since we're talking specifically about reciprocity, it should be a moot point because the Constitution says shall not be infringed. So it should be a moot point. This should have all been ruled unconstitutional years ago. You shouldn't need a permit to exercise your rights anywhere. But I don't want the president to be able to unilaterally control all of the states and other types of means. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like it should be a moot point because you're right. The Constitution says this, and the Constitution. You shouldn't even have to have a carry permit. We don't here in Alaska. We have constitutional carry, but if I want to carry outside of my state, I can go get a permit that has reciprocity with 39 other states, except for California, Oregon, Washington. Which, if I'm flying into, guess where I'm flying into from Alaska? California, Oregon, Washington. And it's like. The plane is going to stop there unless you pay for a one-way ticket to where you want to go and you are flexible on your days of travel. The plane is going to stop there. It might stop in Vancouver. Better have a passport and you're in trouble.
Then you're more screwed there trying to carry.
Yeah. So, finding a direct flight to Boise, good luck. Finding I've seen direct flight and taken a direct flight from Denver. Let's see, we got. Is your 6 covered? But basically, yeah, it's not that. NY Prepper says, can you make a holster for a 6.5-inch Smith & W 500 Magnum? He says lately, yeah. Excuse me. I bet he can. I bet Just In Case Holsters can, and it will be the nicest one you pick up. He does chest rigs, and they are gorgeous. So. Yeah, and Gary Couette's got a good point. If he could do an executive order, it will only last until the next executive, if dim. Pretty much.
You know what? Can I expand on that? So basically, here's how this works, guys. This is why we're always screwed. Every time, if a Republican put in a pro-Republican, libertarian, whatever, put in a pro-gun executive order, the Dem will unsign it 100% of the time. They're always right in line. However, we have all these Clinton executive orders against guns, all these Obama executive orders against guns. We had 2 terms of George Bush. We have 1 term of Trump. The Republicans that claim they're pro-gun never, ever, ever undo what the Dems did, but the Dems will always cancel out any good the Republicans did. And that's why we have to keep fighting and why we're getting screwed so much. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And it just proves the point that Republicans and Bush and Trump, the last 2 Republican presidents, and probably Bush the elder before them, and even Reagan, didn't overturn anti-2A stuff. Reagan actually passed the Hughes Amendment. Now you can't afford a machine gun. And the NRA was a president at the time said, "Oh, I think our voters will be okay with this," so it is exactly what you're saying. We are screwed from both sides. If you are a 2A fighter, you are screwed from both sides. Okay.
True.
So, like you can't trust the Republican. You know you can't trust the Democrat. So you're gambling on a Republican. And like, I don't know. Like it's just bad. So looks like just in case Colsters can make the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Good thing to hook you guys up. All right. Imagine if you had only free speech in certain states. There must be something the president can do to make things right for the second. All right.
We don't have free speech. We don't have free speech anymore either, guys, though, to be honest with you. This is just the way this country's going. Look at all of the tweets that get taken down like crazy. Look at all of the Facebook posts. Good friends of mine just had their Pro 2A Facebook groups and pages completely deleted. I was a moderator in one of them. Cleanest, family-friendly pages you've ever seen. Completely gone. Free speech. Okay, you have to have a permit to carry in a lot of states. You also have to have a permit in any state capital to hold your peaceful rally, to peacefully protest. You have to buy permits for that. So I totally hear you, White Space, but I hate to say it, man. We don't have complete permitless freedom of speech either in any shape or form anymore.
Yeah. So let's go to Nathan Manley here. He won my 5,000 subscriber giveaway at Alaskan Ballistics. The AR-15 build from the receiver I won from you works great. They used mainly arrow precision. That's great. And you were going to do 6.5 Grindle, but now you're doing 223 or 5.56 instead, I think. If I remember correctly. So I hope it works. You can't trust politicians. I think me and you were talking about, before the show started, was basically if you're a politician, on some level, something is wrong with you. If you desire to be in politics to affect other people's lives, at some point, like, you're going to do more good helping people, doing your local church mission or going out and helping people learn to become new shooters, or like, you're going to do more good for the Second Amendment doing that than you could ever do as a politician, in my opinion. Like,
I agree with you. It's that old saying, man, like, people that want power don't deserve it. And people who deserve power don't usually want it, Right.
Great men have power thrust upon them, not the ones who desire power.
And I think I said to you offline earlier, I said, well, maybe this is my thing. Maybe like the local township, township trustee or something. I could maybe see somebody being 100% legit and genuine on that level, right? But once you keep getting higher, I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, it seems like, if you want higher than that, then, you might be forced. Like, I think Sarah Palin, like, joined the local school board, and then they, pushed her because she was more conservative than the rest to be county commissioner or bureau commissioner here. And then she went up the ladder from there to governor. But, like, I still don't think she was, I don't think she was the greatest Republican ever, but that's that. It's the late night gun chat at a certain time this week. I stumbled on it every time. It's supposed to be Tuesday nights at 7:30 to 7:45. But tonight it's Monday night because I have something going on tomorrow night. So 223 wild because of ammo availability now. Yeah, it's hard to find 223 5.56 too. I just want to encourage people. That's what Drop is like. Scott says exactly. Hello, coming late to the party, so I apologize if this was already touched on. We know Democrats will attack the 2A, and Republicans take 2A voters for granted because of that. I couldn't agree more. Woolly Toe, good to see you on the chat.
Yeah, they're right.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you were just saying. I travel from Florida to California, and the ATF explained I can carry all my guns and ammo as long as I follow rules in my home state as far as transporting them.
Yes, you know where that comes from? That was the good part of the Firearms Owners Protection Act of '86 with the Poison Pill Hughes Amendment to make it not pass, but they signed it anyways. That is where that actually came from, in the '86 Firearms Owners Protection Act that Reagan signed, that as long as you're directly en route traveling through, you can keep traveling even if they're banned. So that, yep.
Okay. Does that count if I'm flying from Alaska to California to Texas?
Yes, if you don't see, there's where the gray area comes in. Layovers is where it becomes the gray area. So if you're just going from one terminal to the other, but if you have to lay over the night and check into a hotel room, there's been some gray area, and there's a big court case with the New York Firearms Association or Rifle Association, whatever they're called, that actually does concern that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you can give me will you text me or Instagram message me a link or whatever to that case? I'd like to read that.
Yes, it was discussed. It was one of those that I believe it was Kavanaugh, one of the recent SCOTUS nominees, or now Justice, was involved in that case.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Well,
Can
go ahead.
Can I clarify one more thing before I get off here? Because I got to get to Taco Bell before they close here. It's almost 1. But look, guys, I'm really leery of a executive person just reaching across all the 50 states. But if I could clarify one more time, yes, I wish on the surface of things Trump could just do something to get reciprocity. Like, I totally get it. I do. And since the Democrats don't ever follow the rules, I guess screw it. Why doesn't he just do it too? But it shouldn't be that way. If we've just gotten ourselves in such a messed up situation that we have to compromise the 10th Amendment, federalism, states' rights to try to scratch back and get some of our 2A rights. So, yeah, guys, I wish he could do something about it, but it's just messed up. So,
cool. Hey, before you go, I'm going to put on what Dan Sullivan said about YouTube and our Second Amendment rights. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is what he said to me, because I called his office and said, I'm concerned about that. Thank you for contacting me regarding the critical issue of freedom of speech in America. I appreciate your thoughts on this issue and welcome the opportunity to respond. Our country's founding documents are all premised on the principles of freedom and liberty. The First Amendment to our Constitution, part of the Bill of Rights, specifically prohibits laws abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. We are a nation founded on the idea that all people should be free to express their opinions and political views. It is through free speech that we are able to express opinions and participate in our democracy. I am committed to this principle and support the right of all Americans to peacefully express their beliefs and concerns, even if I disagree with them. These rights come with responsibility, and the recent acts of violence and destruction towards people and property on U.S. college campuses as efforts to shut down speeches and debate are unacceptable. I'm a big believer in the importance of respectful civil discourse, which is one of the reasons I have held town meetings across Alaska. The media also holds responsibility to report stories accurately, and although I do not always agree with what is written and reported by the Alaska or national media, I certainly do not view them as an enemy of the American people. A free press is critical to our democracy. It is through accurate information that the public has the power to hold its elected officials accountable. I am committed to this principle and support the right of people to obtain information about their government through a free press. Additionally, I have concerns regarding social media platforms' conduct, policies, and role in our society. The world's largest social media platforms, such as Facebook, hold overwhelming influence in our national discourse and has a credible amount of control over our personal information. The corporate responsibility of these companies as editors of information on their platform and as keepers of innumerable pieces of users' personal data cannot be overstated. As such, I will continue to use my role in the Senate Commerce Committee to dig into these issues further and work with my Senate colleagues on legislation that will direct this issue. As a U.S. Senator, I will do all I can to ensure the freedom of the press, the freedom of speech, and all fundamental rights of Americans are protected under the law. And I will take our founding freedoms very seriously. In fact, the Bill of Rights is emblazoned on a wall in my Senate office. In order to maintain a robust system of checks and balances as a member of the legislative branch, I am steadfastly committed to conducting oversight of the executive branch. I've done so since I've been a senator, and I continue to dedicate to continue this role. Thank you again for contacting my staff on this issue. If you have any more questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me or my staff. My office can be reached at 202-224-3004 or online at sullivanforsenate.gov. So that is my senator, and I contacted him the day they took my contacted him the day that they took my that YouTube took my best video and demonetized it and took it off the algorithm. And that was my top 10 bear guns video. People have been sharing it. And I had actually had it manually reviewed. They said it was okay. And then they manually reviewed it again and said it wasn't okay.
Dude, man, you need to talk. They've been nailing me with that. It's literally almost 2 or 3 times a week now. Videos that were not suitable. I requested the review like a year ago, 6 months ago, and then it gave it the green light. Now, according to their express terms and conditions, once it's manually reviewed, that decision's final for the good or the bad. Now they're coming back, re-reviewing stuff that I had won the appeal on, demonetizing it. And like I always tell my viewers, when we say demonetize, it's not because we're greedy. It's because what that really means is shadow banned, left to rot on the vine and die. No one will ever see it again.
Yeah, that video was gaining 2,000 to 3,000 views a day.
Yeah,
and now it is gaining, you know, since then in 3 weeks, it's gained like maybe 1,500 views in 3 weeks instead of a day. So,
dude,
who you need to talk to is CloverTac. You know CloverTac?
not
CloverTac.
personally, but I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, contact him on Instagram. He'll tell you what to do. He's working on something big for that because he's working on it, and I don't know how much I can tell over the internet. So that's that.
Dude, they're killing me, man. It's like every day I go on there, and one that was previously green manually. Look, I'm not happy like in that way. I'm almost relieved to know it's not just me. I thought they were getting ready to delete my channel or something. Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, and they might do that when you get big enough. So one thing I'm doing is making sure I post a lot of stuff that isn't guns related, but you know, I can only do so much because my channel is Alaskan Ballistics, and nobody liked my top 10 or top 5 dairy-free cheeses video. You know, YouTube didn't share that one either. Apparently, it's monetized, but they didn't share that one either. I mean, because I have to eat dairy-free, so like, I didn't notice it by my gut, but you know, I have to eat dairy-free. So
it's sick what they're doing to us, man.
Yeah. Well, it's been 51 minutes. I know you got to roll. And it looks like we're looks like we've gone a long way. So it's good to see a lot of people in here. Get some new people in here.
Give them a thumbs up, guys. Don't forget that. That helps our channels in the algorithm when you give it a thumbs up. So don't forget that.
I do have some Alaskan Ballistic hoodies that are going on sale right now with the Alaska State flag, which is the Big Dipper with the North Star. All gun laws are infringements. This one's faded in color a little bit since Washington, but it's all blue with the Alaska flag and kind of the military writing. All gun laws are infringements right there. So you know, not the coolest design ever, but it's Alaska representative. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah, I've got some hoodies. So make sure you go check out the links and stuff for that. That'll help the channel buy some microphones and stuff like that. If you guys buy enough of them, I think there's 6 sold, and I've bought 5 of them so far. So, you know, if y'all can go help with that, that'd be great. But anyway, what's coming up on your channel? Go ahead and let's plug your channel for a little bit, 2A.
Oh, I don't know, man. I've got some more gun rights issue stuff going on with Gretchen and the Secretary of State and all their tyranny. This Friday, I think, you know, we had such a good time last Friday. I think I'm going to have Tap Rack and roll on again this Friday. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the Harris-Biden administration gun control. And it's like a stack this thick right off their website. We're going to go through that and opine on it just to let people know what they're all about. So,
yeah. Okay. Well, that's going to be a long chat. I'll try to catch it. Yeah, I'm preparing for a football game, playoff football game. But yeah, so that's that. This week I got a 30-06 video coming up, and I think next week I'm doing 6.5 Creedmoor versus 6.5 at 284 Norma, and which is an old school 6.5 that actually spanks the Creedmoor. Spoiler alert. So I love my Creedmoors, but you know, a lot of people don't like the new hippie boy caliber, soy boy caliber as they call it, the Needmore. And if you like that 6.5 bullet, the 284 by 284 Norma is a pretty awesome round. So there wasn't a lot of difference in penetration though. The bullet was the same. Used an Akibon long range for both of them. So I got that coming out for next week, and you guys will get to see it then. All right, man. Well, I think we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, it's, we've been friends a long time on here. I'm always busy when you send me the invites, but I'm really glad we finally got to hang out on here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, I normally do this Tuesday nights, but anytime you want to come, man, and after next week, I should be done. So with football, so I can come and join you if you want me to, and we'll talk later. So
Yeah,
Everybody,
we'll do it again.
thanks again, and God bless. Take care. We will see y'all at the range.
Thanks, guys.